welcome back to Kara's Kitchen. As I said in my previous video, we are going to be experimenting with a few different methods on how to make a grilled cheese sandwich. So today we are going to try 5 different methods. Our standard cooktop method, we are going to try a panini press, we are going to try it in the microwave, we are going to try it in a toaster, yes, a regular toaster, and we are going to try to use the burner on a coffee maker. So all sorts of exciting things happening here today in Kara's Kitchen. I have all of my ingredients. Let's get cooking. So one of the first methods we are going to use is the toaster oven. Now, I do not recommend doing this at home. You should not try it, but you know, I've seen all sorts of wacky things done on cooking shows or, you know, just online. So I figured we may as well give it a shot, right? So my basic grilled cheese, well, I wouldn't say basic, but the general grilled cheese that I like to make would have butter on the outside. And because we're going to be cooking this a different way, I'm not going to worry about buttering it. But I do have a little secret that I'm going to share with you. I put just a little bit of mayo on the inside. This is just sourdough bread. I love sourdough bread with grilled cheese. I like the flavor of it, and a lot of times it's a heartier bread, so I feel like it holds up pretty well when it's being heated. That way we can get all that cheese melted inside. And then the mayonnaise just kind of helps get that cheese a little gooier, so that when you go to bite into it, you have the nice crusty outside, then you have the gooey cheese on the inside. So just a little bit, see, I'm not globbing it on or anything. I'm just doing a nice light layer, okay? And then I do like to use 3 different cheeses. So it's a fromage à trois, if you will. Yes, I did just make that up. So we are going to be using 2 soft cheeses. Now what that means is that they're going to melt very easily. So I use Munster as one of my soft cheeses. And I use Havarti as another soft cheese. Now Havarti, I guess, is similar to Swiss cheese. I don't like Swiss cheese, but I like Havarti, so yeah. So right on top there. So these are going to be the softer cheeses. I do like to throw some cheddar in there. I love the taste of cheddar. The only reason I don't do sharp in a grilled cheese is because it has it's a little bit firmer, so it won't melt as well. So I'm just gonna layer it just like that. Okay, we're gonna put it right on top. So the base of our sandwich is made. Now, because you're going to be putting it inside of the toaster here, I do recommend that you, 1, probably don't do this, but 2, use parchment paper. That way, if anything does spill in the toaster, it doesn't ruin it or catch on fire, because we don't want anything catching on fire here in Kara's Kitchen. That's a big no-no. Okay, so in the toaster we go. Let's see if this works. You will probably need to do both sides if you do wind up trying this, just so that it cooks evenly. And I have it on my 4 setting. Mine goes 1 through 5. So here we go, let's try it out. Okay, so it just finished cooking on the other side. I did flip it. I wound up just popping it fairly early. I probably cooked it about 1.5 to 2 minutes on both sides. Okay, so let's take a peek. Well, it looks cooked all the way through. The cheese looks melted. So we are going to put this aside because we're going to try all of these different ones at the ends. And me and my panel of judges, my husband Jordan and his cousin Matthew, are going to be going through and test tasting which one we like the best. So let's go ahead and we'll move on to our second method here, or experiment. Okay, so the second experiment we are going to try, this is 2 of 5. So I have a coffee maker with a standard burner. These do get pretty warm, and I have seen experiments where people have used it. I am going to just use some foil, that way we don't get stuff all over it. And I'm going to do the exact same thing. our little bit of mayo on the inside and our 3 cheeses. This one, I will put a little bit of butter on the outside though, just because it's gonna hopefully cook more like a skillet will. All right, so our nice light spread of mayonnaise. There we go. And the reason why I layer the cheeses the way that I do is so that you have your 2 softer melting cheeses on the outside, and that will just kind of help melt that 3rd cheese on the inside. There we go. So our Munster, our mild cheddar, and then our Havarti. Okay, so there's that. We have one more knife here for the butter. I had it sitting out for a little bit so it's nice and soft. Now we can spread it right on the bread. Okay, there's that side. And this side. Again, just a nice spread. Okay. And I'm gonna wrap this guy up. Something that my stepdad Brian taught me is you never want to put your food on the shiny side of the foil. You want to have it on the more matte side. Okay, it's just safer when you cook it. All right, so we're going to put it right on there. I'll probably have to do just 1/2 at a time. Okay, let's cook away. So this has been cooking away for a good 20 minutes. Let's take a peek. So it seems like it warmed up at the very least. It's still very squishy, not super brown as I thought it would be, especially in the foil, but we at least melted the cheese, so I think that's something. We will set this one aside with the others, and we will move on to our next method or experiment. The 3rd method we are going to try is a panini press, which just like the coffee maker should be similar to a griddle. And what we are going to do, we're going to prepare it just like we did for the coffee maker with the mayonnaise, the cheese, and the butter. And this one we can just put right on there. Now the panini press will give it those beautiful browned lines. And it will also kind of flatten it a little bit. So instead of being kind of thicker and gooey, it's going to be smushed a little, which is fine, because really what you're looking for is that crunch and the gooiness of the cheese. All right, and our 3 cheeses again. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's get some butter action going here. And then on my panini press, it's a Bella. I just have it set 1 notch above medium, so not quite medium high, but not medium. And you do want to keep an eye on it, because I found with these, you'll have them hot, and sometimes they can cause the cheese to run all over the place because it melts and it gets all gooey. So just be careful with that if you are trying this with a panini press. Okay. We are all set. Give it a little squish here, and we'll just let that cook away. Okay, we've been in here for about 3.5, 4 minutes. Let's see how we're looking. Oh yes. So again, with the panini press, as I mentioned, you are probably going to have some spillage just because the press is flat. So this is all set and ready to go. Let's set this one aside as well. I do have all of them in the oven at 200 degrees. That way they stay nice and warm until the judges and I can deliberate and see which one is the winner. So let's put this one aside and we'll move on to the next one. We are on number 4 of 5 methods. This is going to be our microwave method. So similar to when we did the toaster, We're only going to do the mayonnaise on the inside and the cheese. Otherwise, it's going to be super soggy. This is because in the microwave, it doesn't get a chance to really crisp up. All it does is melt. This is not my preferred method. I have used this one before. And then from there, I wound up switching to just cooking it on the stove. But, you know, this is experiment day, so we are going to make sure it has a fair chance in the running. We're going to layer our 3 cheeses. I'm gonna start off just at 30-second increments until it is melted all the way through. All right, let's try this out. Okay, so it microwaved for exactly 30 seconds. It is all the way melted, as you can see, but the bread is still very soft and spongy. So let's set this one aside and we will get to our final method and my personal favorite method, the stovetop. On to our 5th and final method / experiments. We are going to be using our stovetop or griddle top. I went ahead and just got my nonstick pan. I have it on medium to medium high heat. And I already went ahead and got the sandwich started. So we have our mayo, our fromage à trois, and we have our butter on one side. So let's go ahead and let's put this first side down. You want to make sure you hear that sound when you put it down. And we are going to very carefully, because we are going to be working over a hot pan, we are going to butter this other side so that when we flip it over, it has that nice buttery finish to it once it's cooked. So we are just going to finish off that side. There we go. If you want to butter both sides before you put it in the pan, that's fine. I just don't like butter all over the place. So we are going to cook this. Cooking times will vary. All of my ingredients have been out for a little bit, so the cheese is going to be soft. The butter's already going to be warmed up. We're probably going to be a couple minutes on each side. I'd say anywhere from 2 to 5 minutes on each side, depending on your ingredients, how cool they are or how warm they are, and how warm your pan is. So I have a feeling this is going to be the winner, so I'm going to cook a full sandwich for each of the judges, and we will finish this up and we'll be right back. So we are about to bring the judges out so we can try our 5 different methods. I'll just kind of run through them real quick. We did our toaster, just a regular toaster. We did our coffee maker burner. We did a panini press, a microwave, and our 5th and final, our stovetop / griddle top. I went ahead and brought you back just so that I can show you what we're supposed to look like when we flip over. There we go. So we have a nice, beautiful brown crust. That's from the butter and, you know, everything just kind of melting and then firming up with the bread as it's kind of toasting and cooking and getting all the cheese melted in there. You do want to be careful. You don't want your pan too hot because that's how you get burnt bread, and that just doesn't taste very good as a grilled cheese. And you do want to cook it all the way through, that way the cheese is nice and melted. When you bite into it, you want it to be gooey and delicious, because that's what you think of when you think grilled cheese, right? And you can just kind of give it a little press. That way it just kind of helps get everything nice and melded together, make it so everyone becomes friends in there, right? Because we like when we're all friends. Okay, so let's go ahead. We will bring our judges out. We will get everything plated and we'll figure out which method is going to be the winner. Three. So we are here with our panel of judges. We have our 5 different methods / experiments that we used for grilled cheese. And what is a grilled cheese dish without some tomato soup? So we each have a nice side of tomato soup. Why don't we go ahead and we will try the first method. That's going to be the microwave method. So this is one you guys are all probably familiar with. Let's give these a try. And make sure you give your honest opinions on all of them.
We did me?
Sure.
Very buttery.
It's surprising because there's no butter on it.
I thought there was butter too. That's crazy.
There is mayonnaise on the inside.
That's what it is.
That's what makes it nice and gooey. Okay. Well, I guess microwave was a success. Shall we move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Okay, so the next one we did was the panini press. And making sure we each kind of get an edge piece because that is the best part, is the edge piece. Okay. There you go. All right, so this one does have butter on the outside. You will notice it's a little bit flatter because of the panini press.
I like that one better.
Yeah.
This one's better, sure.
I like that it has more of a crust on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this one is actually a surprising one. This is the toaster. So I put it in some parchment paper and put it right in the toaster. Doesn't have any butter on it, but still the same method with the, what I called it, the fromage à trois, our 3 cheeses. And just putting some parchment paper with the mayonnaise.
This is second on my list. First was the panini, and this second.
Second, maybe third. I'm not sure. It's close though.
I like it, but I am missing that butteriness that the panini press one had. But I do like the crust on it. It's actually quite surprising. And especially good with tomato soup. Okay. So this is our coffee maker one. So
Coffee maker?
yes, so I made this on the burner of a coffee maker. It took about 20 minutes, and as you can see, it didn't fully cook like it cooked, but not as good as I would have liked it. Let's try it out.
I feel like that's very similar to the first one.
The microwave.
And I actually feel like the microwave one was better than this one.
Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
this one was a success. Well, that's just me. Okay, so I figured this one, my personal preference, on the stovetop would be the best one, so I made us each a full sandwich. Now, look at that
What kind is this again?
gooiness.
Stovetop?
Yes,
This is the original.
yes. And see, each one is nice and cheesy and gooey. That's exactly what we're wanting in a grilled cheese, right, guys?
Yeah.
Are we supposed to comment on this one too?
If you like.
This is second for me. Panini press one is
Yeah,
the best
I
one.
agree.
What?
Panini was elite. Like everything was like a crust. The whole thing. It was so good. But this is definitely close.
I don't know. I think this one's first, but I guess by default, not really by default, by majority rules, the
Outnumbered.
panini was number 1. Okay. Got it. Well, gentlemen, thank you so much for being guest stars and guest judges on my show, and I appreciate your input. So let's go ahead and we'll wrap everything up here. Okay, so that is a wrap on today's episode of Kara's Kitchen. Thank you so much for joining me today and trying out these different experiments. As always, when you try something new, make sure you're being safe about it. No kitchen fires. We do not want any kitchen fires. And of course, let me know if you did anything new with these recipes. Let me know if you use different cheeses or different breads. If you tried any of these methods out yourself and found success. If there are any other ones that you've tried out, I would love to hear from you. Next week, we are going to do part 1. Yes, we're going to do a 2-parter for the very first time. So we are going to do part 1 on game day snacks because it's getting to be that time of year. In our house, we are all about the football. We're already into our hockey and basketball with everything being kind of kooky right now. But with football starting soon, we are going to be getting more into those, and we always have some type of snack going on. So join me next week for that. As always, be safe. Thank you so much for watching. If you like my videos, please subscribe, and we will see you next time in Kara's Kitchen.